What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Backliners podcast. Nice! We got 1 out of 2 correct. It's Goremiser, and it's BaRRaCCuDDa. Gore gets to be himself tonight. Unfortunately, okay, so here's the deal. This is on me, I'd like to say. The prediction guys asked, do we need an overlay, as they always do, before show, and I said, nope, we've had Gore on recently, we should be A-okay. And I did not realize that that was the episode where Barry wasn't here, and we had Mike instead. So, Goremiser is actually in the right spot. BaRRa is here, but on the nameplate, on stream, it says PBM. But I've really decided, guys, that having our overlay be wrong in some way is no longer an accident. It's actually intentional and part of our brand. This is like what we do on the Backliners. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's good.
It's to be messy and not professional while trying to maintain some level of professionalism while also not having any.
Okay. I would say I was kind of viewing it as the opposite here, Barry, which is I think to your point maybe. I was thinking of it as that we're clearly not taking ourselves too seriously. We're just kind of going with the flow, doing our thing. And we just so happen to have some pretty professional ways of phrasing things or expressing our opinions from time to time.
You just described commentary.
Yeah, you think so, Gore? Do you think either of us, if you had to choose who would be a better caster between me and BaRRa, who would you choose?
I don't
based
know.
on a gut feeling. Could you guess? I don't know. Just maybe throw it out.
Out of the two of you, which one would be a better commentator?
Yeah.
Just in general.
In your opinion, yeah.
Especially factoring in on-camera work and history and things like that, right?
You could if you feel like you need to, but you
I don't know. BaRRa's my favorite guy to interview, so I will say he's real good on camera.
I agree. I agree. I've often told Barry that he could cast if he wanted to.
I think the media day that we're supposed to do this week is the Bolts, and Dave's out of town, so I'm doing the team check-in, and I'm gonna be completely candid. I hate doing content like that because sometimes it feels like you're just pulling teeth trying to get answers. But they were like, "Oh, it's the Bolts," and I'm like, "Oh, this is free. I'm gonna ask 2 questions, and then I'm gonna get 30 minutes of talking from them. It doesn't matter."
It's true. The Bolts are the easiest team to do content with. I don't think it's that close for who the easiest team to do content is with.
We're great yappers.
Yeah, you guys yap up a storm. I attribute it to mandatory fun time. Have you guys had to do any mandatory fun time this year?
No, but I think we need to. I think we need to.
You're calling it in?
Yeah, I think, we need some special reinforcements, some care packages, and I think mandatory fun time is the right way to go about solving some of the problems we're having.
Yeah, okay. Well, I've got an idea for the mandatory fun time, Barry, but I'm going to keep that to post-podcast. So I'm going to ask me for my idea afterwards. I'll be able to... I've got an idea that could really... Okay, this is gonna make it sound so much worse than it is. Never mind. I'm just stopping.
Yeah, it really does.
I don't know where I'm going. I don't want to do it.
Wait, turn around from the ledge.
Oh, you know what? Fine. No. I'm going back to the ledge, baby. Here I go. I'm going back to the ledge. The best way, I think, for you guys to all get closer is if you all start saving money on your wireless service, Barry. Is if you start using Mint Mobile, of course, is who I'm talking about. Guys, you're getting upset and screaming because you're paying too much for your mobile service.
He's got a good point here.
Instead, you should be using Mint Mobile, the only company that cuts out the middleman. They don't need these stupid brick and mortar stores. They just send the savings directly to you. They don't need traditional retail, guys. And here's the deal with it. You still get the best nationwide network. You get to keep your existing phone number. You get to keep all your contacts. You get to keep your phone. What could this is going to make your team environment so much better, Barry. And I can't believe you haven't told everyone on your team yet because you're a Mint Mobile customer.
Look, I have, but sometimes the dents are pretty hard to get through, so you just got to keep yelling. And I think eventually, I think you're onto something right here.
Yeah.
It could be Mint Fun Time, right?
You have to think about it. Your phone almost, with Mint, it would always have service, right? So therefore, it's always mandatory fun time. You're never sad ever again.
Oh my god.
Yeah. You get to send each other some good memes and all that kind of stuff, and you don't have to worry about it.
Take clothes.
Yeah.
At only $15 a month, that's like 3 Subway's footlongs. Wait, are they still $5?
Almost certainly not. I actually realized the other day that I haven't had a Subway sub in legitimately years. and I was like, I'm gonna go to Subway one of these days and just to try it. That was months ago, and I have not been able to convince myself to go to Subway and eat a sub yet. I just haven't.
Isn't their bread classified as like cake somewhere?
In Ireland. Because it's got too much sugar in it.
Yeah, it's too much, I think.
You want a cake sandwich?
Sometimes,
Sorry,
yes.
Please sponsor us.
So, yes, Subway sponsor the show, by the way.
I love cake.
Yeah, surely us marketing your subs as cake, as meat between cake, is a good thing for you. I can only assume that's what you want, based on the evidence that I'm being given here. All right, let's get back to who's actually sponsoring the show. Of course, it's Mint Mobile. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/backliners. That's mintmobile.com/backliners. Cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/backliners. That might be one of our earliest ad reads of the year so far.
Yeah,
and
you
I'm
caught
okay
me
with
off
it.
guard.
Yeah, I gotta find the whole point of this for me is not necessarily to deliver the ad in the best way, but in the way that elicits the most reaction from BaRRA and whatever guest we have. That's what's important to me more than anything else.
I will be honest, I didn't expect this one. Completely honest, you caught me off guard this time. Normally I can sniff it out just a little bit, just a sniff. But you threw me like right under the bus on this one. I was like, wait, what? Like I thought you were going to a different ledge, and you went to like that.
Here I am. You know what I'm gonna do, BaRRA? You know what I'm gonna do? You know what I think would be fun? Is if I'm gonna send you the Mint Mobile copy, and I just want you to rip one. Not necessarily next week or the week after that, or even the week after that.
In 2 months, BaRRA's gonna do the best Mint ad.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, hey everyone, welcome to the Backliners podcast, and BaRRA's gonna cut me off in the middle of my intro with a Mint Mobile ad. And I'm gonna be dumbfounded. I'm gonna be completely forgotten, and I think that's gonna be good content for us. So remind me to send you the copy after this. I think that would be funny. All right, let's talk a little bit about this SPL Kickoff land, shall we? We previewed it last week. We said that we did not expect a whole lot of,
and we got it,
super serious play, and I think that we hit the nail on the head there. A little bit. We can't be going match by match here. Obviously, that's not going to work. There's just not enough to bite into.
I mean, being honest with chat, I didn't care after we lost. And I was at the gym checking in on the games. And every time I checked, Harry had about 4 more deaths. So, and then on the way home, actually, no, it was after I got home, I was checking on the last of the day. I don't remember who was playing. I think it was like Titans Warriors or something.
Yes, correct.
And I was like, there were 8 kills in the first like 2 minutes of a game, and I'm like, what? A lot. What am I supposed to like dissect here? Like, nothing. I don't know.
And you weren't even casting. You weren't even casting.
I can't imagine casting those games.
Gore, I will be honest. As expected, you know, I was really excited for SPL to get started. I'm still very excited for SPL to get started. I was excited for the SCC LAN and qualifiers and all that kind of stuff. And you know, I definitely already miss that end of it a little bit. But I was watching these games. And all I could think was, man, am I glad that I'm not casting these. Man, am I so glad.
I do think there was a point I looked at Dave. It was for the 3rd-4th matchup. And we were walking to the desk after like the first game, and I looked at him and I was like, what the hell am I even supposed to talk about here? Like I was like, nothing happened in the game. I think there was like a Gold Fury steal with an Atlas ult. That was kind of cool, but like, it was like, there's no meat, there's no substance to break down. So when we got on the desk, we just kind of didn't. And I liked that. That was fun for me.
From what I did not get to watch a whole lot. I was pretty busy this weekend. But I watched a lot on Friday, and I think that you guys did a good job. You know, your job is to be there and entertain. And I was entertained at the very least, so I think it was successful in that regard.
See, and that's Oh yeah, I'm excited, dude. This week it's gonna be nothing but new picks. We're talking like Anubis jungle for the first time, maybe ever in the SPL. It's gonna be nuts. That's all I can imagine.
Yeah, I love. Aurora had the best post-event tweet by a mile, and Steve's follow-up was an absolute slam dunk. Of course, I'm actually gonna read Aurora's tweet verbatim because I liked it so much that I want to make sure. It was
a really good tweet.
Absolutely perfectly. I thought your top one, Aurora, was your pinned tweet, and so I almost read this tweet about a stink bug landing on your face. Which would have been really troll. All right, Aurora said, fun weekend. GG's to all the teams we played. Excited for SPL next week. Can't wait to see all the hidden strats that people are talking about. And then Steve, again, with a slam dunk response, said, if you stand on the enemy obelisk, you can take their flower, but don't tell anyone. Top secret. Which I thought was very funny. Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit last week. I'd like to reiterate, I think this whole narrative of showing secret strats and that kind of stuff is complete nonsense. I don't buy it for an absolute second. I just don't buy that argument whatsoever. I just don't. I thought that, like, BaRRa, your guys' set up against the Dragons was a perfect example of what every set should have been this week. And there could have been more sets like that later on in the week. I admittedly did not get a chance to watch, so I can't comment on them. But of the matches I watched on Friday, your set versus the Jade Dragons, were you guys playing buttoned up perfect Smite? No. Were you guys hard trolling, maybe Panda Cat a little bit by dying to Gold Fury, but we don't have to talk about that too much. It was basically like streaming scrims was the vibe that I got. And I think that is fine. I think that is an acceptable product to be putting out for this type of event. And I just don't understand why more teams couldn't do it like that. And that's my feeling on it.
Yeah, I mean, we were literally like getting in the booth to begin with, and it was just like, I understand, like, we did zero prep going into this event. Like, we basically just said, let's just play like our comfort picks, like play what we want to play, like whether it's like ranked or scrims or like whatever, like let's just pick what we want to pick. If we want to practice something, let's just no thought about it, let's just pick it and just see how it goes.
I know some of the teams, like when I got the chance to talk to them, I don't think you guys were included in this, but like there were people who were moving, so it was like for some of them they were like, yeah, literally, like this is awesome experience because we genuinely haven't gotten to play so much in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a fun event, but I think there was so much, like, I don't know if, like, backlog is the right word, but just, like tension, I guess? Or, I don't know, it was just a weird event overall, I think. Yeah. I mean, I feel like us and Dragons and Leviathans, I'm not sure how many other teams. I think Titans, like, took it, like, semi-seriously, but not, like, obviously 100% serious.
Sure.
But I don't know about Warriors. I remember seeing like a Apollo jungle and like a Zeus jungle, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. Like every team's gonna react to these style of tournaments differently to what they want to do and what they want to show for the fans. Because I feel like you need to troll a little bit for just fun's sake, but you also don't want to troll too hard, but you also don't want to like sweat too hard because then it's like, if you lose while sweating super hard in an event that doesn't mean anything, you just feel bad.
Yep.
But I don't know. There's just this weird, like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just weird.
It feels like one of the ideal event to do kind of like what you had said, right? Like pick whatever gods you want. Like if you had just been like, you know what, I kind of want to see if I can make like Anubis work over here in duo for whatever reason, and you go in and like. You're playing it semi-seriously, right? You're not like you said, you're not sweating over it, but like you're still taking the lane somewhat seriously. And then you're like, okay, let's see if we can Gold Fury at 5 minutes. And it's like you're a little loose with calls, but like you're still like having fun with it. Still like aiming to win, but not really like caring if like, oh, it's too risky, we can't make that play or else we're all gonna lose, and then the set's over. It's like, just play loose. Play the way, well, not the way I play casuals because I don't play attention. Yeah. But somewhere there's a healthy medium.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like that gray area is pretty decently sized as well.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
I do not think it was a hard target to hit to take this event at the level that it should have been taken. I don't think every team hit that very large gray area.
Some were very vocal about that.
Yeah, and that's disappointing. And as I said coming into this, to the fellas here, we'll see how worked up I get, depending on how hot my take's gonna be. And I'm getting worked up a little bit, okay? There was a tweet. There was a tweet that really got me, Gore, and it involved you, okay?
Oh, okay.
Oh no!
And it involved you.
That's why you're here, Gore.
Yeah, no, that's the whole reason you're here.
There was a little that involved me too.
This is all I'm gonna say about this. I don't want to, and you guys don't have to get involved whatsoever. I'm not involved in the esports scene anymore. It's still very important to me, and it's also important. I want to maintain good relationships with everybody because it makes me able. It opens up a better line of communication for me to get opinions from them, and to take that back to the design team and make the game a better thing. And I take that very seriously. However, Genetics saying that taking any stats from this weekend would be really troll, and that it quote-unquote taints the stat pool for the year if you use any from this weekend, is mind-boggling to me. It was by no means required for them to have to play the way they did. And they could have, if they were worried about how it would impact their stats this year, they could have done things to remedy that. And so therefore I was absolutely flabbergasted by that statement. And I take it absolutely 0% seriously. I just can't. No fiber of my being can give that thought any credence at all. And I won't. So,
and on that exact note, BaRRaCCuDDa, I just want you to know, you guys, you're shooting for anything faster than an 11-minute and 4-second fire giant this year. Because I'm counting
4 seconds. Absolutely.
No.
That was the fastest one this weekend, so I'm counting it.
Absolutely.
The fastest in the SPL ever is 10 minutes and 28 seconds, so we'll see what you can cook up for
Well,
us.
we will do something this weekend. Just to beat that.
Watch out
crazy.
for the double frenzy strats coming from
I
the
don't know,
Bolts.
it's just such
Titans,
a weird
right?
thing.
I think
That was, normally I have that written down, and I didn't think about it. I know I was definitely casting.
Come prepared. That's just crazy that someone would come to a podcast unprepared.
Yeah, who would ever?
Who would ever do that?
Yeah,
Literally us every week, by the way.
Yeah, seriously.
No, the
Every
only
single
reason,
week.
and I actually replied to that, but the only reason that tweet was really funny to me was because literally every most blank in an SPL game has been a troll game. The highest kill count in a single SPL game was a game that didn't matter in season 3.
Yep.
Mike set most wards last year in a game that didn't matter because he just sat in base and set down wards for with the chalice. He bought the chalice, would take a couple steps out, drop all the wards, go back to base, reset it, step out, drop it. He would just constantly reset it. And so it's just one of those things where it's we've got a ton of troll games. Sometimes it's just they're just fun to have the stats.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
If this is part of the season, it should get counted. It doesn't count towards their record, but that doesn't mean it isn't part of this season. It's the kickoff tournament. It's a tournament to start the season. It's not the regular season, so it of course it's not going to count towards the record. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to spend any more time on it because I'm going to get too heated. I don't want to do that. That's my final.
I will say, you should have heard me. So Friday was 12 hours. We were there for 12 hours total.
Yep.
And by the end of the day, I was not in a great mood.
Well,
is
yeah.
the best way to describe it.
Any 12-hour days casting are just bound to break your brain in half. It's impossible to not. That's the thing right there. Okay, so yeah, congratulations to the Leviathans, by the way. They won the tournament.
Yeah.
No real surprise. This is absolutely the team to beat. I think we might have talked about it on the week you were gone, BaRRa, with the week that we had Gore and PBM here. And I was saying that I think that the Leviathan should be the heaviest favorite to repeat a title since Epsilon Energy, and maybe even more so. I think more so than Epsilon Energy back season 2 and 3, because the league structure that the rest of the league that they are playing against has changed so little, and they've proven that they can beat these teams easily at times, not always, but they've proven that they can get results more often than not against this exact group for the most part, and therefore I think I would expect the Leviathans. I think there is more expectation on them than any defending champion ever because the landscape they're up against has changed the least out of any year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. That's a fair point as well. Also, their front line is just playing on like a whole other level.
Yes.
Yep.
That we haven't seen a front line function at since ever. Not to like sound like an exaggerating guy for a point, but I genuinely feel like their 3 frontliners are literally light years ahead. Like
Wrong Yu scares me. I'm genuine. Like the idea of Wrong Yu in game shakes me to my core because like he just seemed like him. Even ignoring solo, like if you try to ignore the other side of the map, just the duo side pressure that he can get is frightening to me. And like, and for a while there, it felt like it was like, okay, cool. If he gets Horus, if he got like Yamoja, if he gets any of these like 3 gods, then we're screwed. But anybody else, and it's even playing field. I don't know what happened in the offseason, or not even the offseason. It happened last year too, where it's just like, oh man, he can play anything better than all of us. This is not where we want to be.
Yeah, it is. It is insane, man. I mean, I said it literally all year last year. I felt like I was saying the same thing over and over again, where it's like, yeah, Shinto, and when it was Yarkor playing EDC, or when it was Zap playing EDC, like, these guys are great players. Like, legitimately the best in the league at what they do at times. But the Leviathans win their games through their front line. It is always their front line. It is always Rongyu and Panatom and Yarkor when he's in solo that are making the difference for this team. And I completely agree that they are the difference maker for this squad.
I'm gonna tweet about this tomorrow, so it doesn't matter. On waiting room throughout the year, I got bored with the idea of doing like predictions where it's like, oh hey, Bolts are playing Leviathans this week. Who do you think's gonna win?
Right.
And everybody would just put it. So instead,
and Gore, you don't want to be in those situations. You don't want to be an exaggerating guy just to make a point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Never.
Bear, that just made me laugh so hard. Exaggerating guy to make a point. That is so funny.
Look, people do that, man. It drives me crazy, and I'm always worried that
but they use,
like
those have like you can call like it's a hot, it's making a hot take for no reason, or like exaggerating just an exaggerating guy just to make a point. It's like.
Look, man, I'm really good with words.
Yeah, I guess that's true. All right, sorry, Gore. Sorry to derail you. Go ahead.
So instead, there's a guy on Reddit. I have his name because I've been messaging him a lot. It's King Kerbis. I can't remember his exact like user, but he runs like the fantasy league on the Smite Pro subreddit.
Yep.
And I asked him, I was like, hey, are you cool if we use your point system? And we ran a fantasy draft. And
cool.
The reason this ties into the conversation, so we all have like our own teams. Which, by the way, we even drafted coaches, so we have them.
How do you score fantasy points for coaches?
Every win is 2 points, and then if they get a 2-0, they get a bonus point. So you can get 5 points for a set from a coach. So like if you have a coach that Trelly has Slaney, right? Slaney's, and the Scarabs typically go 3 games. So you're probably gonna get some points off Slaney every time. But you might not get the max amount.
Right.
Whereas
so you think Trelly's team sucks? Don't tell me the whole teams. Tell me who has the worst team.
J-Mac. Hold on.
Hold on.
That was not hard for him.
It was a lot worse. No, he changed his mind about one of the picks. He almost locked in somebody. He was talking about 2.
Gotcha.
And he went with 1. I don't know if he got anything better. I think Hindu has like the most consistent. Because we needed a 6, so I asked him on the day, and
how
then he
many,
took it
how many
so seriously. It
EU
was
players. How many EU players does Hindu Man have?
2? Just 2.
Wow, only 2? I would have bet a lot of money that he would have had majority EU players because Hindu Man is a notorious EU player overrater. Historically.
So the tie-in for this was that all of the Leviathans got picked up almost immediately. Like Zap was a little delayed, and it is only because all of this is based on, or a lot of the
Stats.
points for like carries are KDAs,
Right.
and Zap had just had a like 0-5 game,
Right.
and so everybody was like, I don't know if we want to touch that.
Yeah.
And so they were shuffled away. But like it, Hardcore, Shinto, Panatom, Wrongyu were literally all the first 4 picks. Oxy, Myth drafted Oxy in the second round, so that was a little wild.
It depends on, well, first of all, Mifflin doing something that doesn't make any sense is very on brand. But I suppose it depends on if they, I guess, like, if how many points you're getting otherwise. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I don't think there's no way that can be right. Although I have no idea what the point structure is like, so maybe it is. That sounds kind of fun. I think maybe I should draft a fantasy team.
Honestly, we could. Well, you'd have to go through what was left, which is probably
no. I'm not doing that. I want
it is
an
very
OP team.
It was really fun.
How does it? Okay, I'm gonna find it on the Smite Pro website, on the Smite Pro subreddit, because that sounds fun. I think.
Yeah, I think they have a Discord and everything for it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think I might do it. That sounds really fun.
Who were the undrafted players? I can tell you that.
Well, that's kind of giving. I do think it would be cool if you spoiled something. If you want to, you don't need to.
Okay.
Sam wanted to know what's your team, so I think you should either decide if you should say your team or the 10 undrafted players. It's less BM to just go with your team.
I think my team is more interesting because when you look at the undrafted players, I think a lot of it is predictable based on.
Yeah, it's going to be Valve's players and Warriors players, right? They were the bottom two.
Just like interest. I literally there was a point I was going for support, and Neil was like, it was right before their game on, I guess on Friday, and I looked at him. I was like, Neil, how are you feeling about this year? Like just phase 1. I was like, if I drafted you for fantasy, how are you feeling? He goes, is it based on like KDA? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, don't pick me. Cuba's playing ping pong with him, and he looks up and he goes, yeah, don't pick me either.
I love those guys, man. They're great.
So my squad is Hardcore, because I was first.
Strong start.
That
was the first overall pick, Yarkor?
Yeah, it was a tie. I had no idea if I wanted him, Shinto, or Wrongyu. It was like the hardest decision, but I went for him because he's free points.
Yep.
I got Hardcore, Scream, because he tends to perform well even when they lose. So
that's true.
That felt strong.
Yep.
I got Venenu.
Okay.
Aurora and Netroid with Masked as my coach, which means BaRRa, I need you to win a lot of games for me, man.
I mean, you didn't pick me, so.
Okay. So here's what I need. I need you to let. I was gonna say, let Vin get all the kills.
Okay.
You win the games. But you int real hard because you're on Myth's squad, and that would just make my day.
Oh, Myth BaRRa, picked me?
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
In fact, I think he picked you pretty high up. I have the draft. I'm gonna tweet the draft or the order tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Then I don't feel as bad asking you to spoil it.
Myth got you in the 4th round, BaRRa.
Wow.
4th round.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's higher than I thought.
You did go below a coach, BaRRa.
I mean, that's fine.
Well,
depending on the coach, that's
a lot of people went below coaches.
Myth. Myth. Most of the coaches were 6th, except for Oxy, who Myth took 2nd.
Yeah, that makes
Mifflin's draft order was Panatom and then Oxy. It's because he was mad that he didn't get Shinto, so he didn't know what he wanted to do.
Good lord, that guy. Is KDA the most important thing in the fantasy league?
Hold on, I've got the scoring rubric.
I feel like we're doing an ad for the fantasy league, but I'm cool with that because it's a really cool idea.
Yeah,
I thought it was fun.
About my games and just play KDA now.
Yeah.
Smite Fantasy 2022. Here we go. The scores are so like your kills are 2 points. I know death like removes a point.
Okay.
And then carries, so your mid and your jungle and your like ADC get 1 point per 10 assists.
Okay.
And then supports and solos, their kills are only worth 1.5. Their deaths are minus 0.5, but they get 0.75 for every assist, so they can rack up those points.
Okay.
And then there's like bonus points, like if you have a deathless game, you get extra points. Top damage on the team, highest assists on the team if you're a support, highest assists in the match, kills in the game, first blood. If you get a pentakill, it's worth a ton, things like that. And so cool. Like it'll bounce up throughout the
and you're telling me
throughout the game.
I'm not here to to say anything about the drafting process here, Gore. I'm just hearing what you're telling me.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that none of you, the first 4 picks weren't who I would pick first overall.
Really?
I'd pick Paul. Paul has got to be the best first overall pick here, right? The KDA King. He had the best KDA like
King,
all last year.
He did do a whole ton. I did reprimand myself. I did not look up any Season 8 stats prior to this. And when Hindu pointed that out, he then yelled at me when I tried to open a tab for it. So I decided not to, out of fairness.
That's
I
think I would also go Leviathan's over
Shinto.
Paul.
Shinto the best KDA? Interesting.
Shinto had a 5.6. Also, Shinto had like an 18.5 KDA at Worlds or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely
about right.
Yeah, I will say, because you also, it's per role, right? You're not just picking 5 players, you're picking 1 player from each role and a coach. So the role strength matters a lot.
Yeah.
You know, Yark as a first overall pick definitely makes sense, and like, he's probably worthy of it, but at the same time,
back on it,
Solo
I probably
really
could have gotten
strong, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Rongu might actually be the best first overall, because I'll bet you his KDA above most other supports in the league is way higher on average.
He gets a ton of assists too. He's like 3 points.
Right. So if it's exactly like Wild says in the chat, it's like how quarterbacks are the most important thing in football, but you don't take them first round in fantasy because there's just so many of them that get a lot of points.
Yeah, I think Hindu had the best first, because he was last in the draft, and so he got to go back to back, and I'm pretty sure his first 2 were Paul and Panda Cat.
That's pretty strong.
Which is a very, very strong 2 pickup.
That's pretty good.
That's a lot of KDA right there.
Yeah, that's a lot of KDA right there. That's a lot of kill death to assist ratio for sure. There's no doubt about that. I'm very much looking forward to seeing your teams tomorrow, Gore. I'll be definitely checking.
I could have done better.
Oh no.
I like my squad, but and you know, BaRRA, I love your teammates, but I do think Vin can be hit or miss here. I think I might be I think some weeks I'm gonna do really great in mid, and some weeks I'm gonna do like okay in mid.
All right, Gore. Listen, you're the one who did this, right? You're the one who did the drafting. Is it on your sheets?
Yes.
Sounds to me like something wrong happened to your Google Sheets, man. That you looked for your draft and you just couldn't find it. It's just not, everyone could maybe piece together who they had.
What do you mean? All of a sudden I just have the Leviathans? That's literally just the team I drafted?
Yeah, I mean, no, you just have to redraft. Like, that's the only real option, I think, from this position is that you just have to redraft. Like, you just don't have a choice. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, getting Vin's a little troll because sometimes he's a KDA player and sometimes he's not. So
sometimes he likes to be an aggressive mid player,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes it
Zhong
doesn't work out
he's
well.
going to be playing here,
I mean, we can mess up Gore pretty bad now, so
That's true.
We can rig these.
I will say, good news is coaches can't lose you points. So like if you get 2-0'd a bunch, I don't lose points for having Mass there. I only lose the points that Vin's KDA has.
There you go. I believe that your team's gonna be great, Gore. Even though I don't know everyone else's.
Not playing mid for the next season,
Yeah.
Good luck over there, Vin.
No, BaRRA. If you're doing well, that means Mifflin's doing well, and that is worst case scenario.
Oh no.
That is worst case scenario.
Me and Mifflin, we'll have a bond.
I don't know if I want.
You and Jake just have to gun it down and let Van, Lass, and Haddix do the carrying. That's all you gotta do.
Aggro, you've opened my eyes to something that I didn't consider. On most weeks when Mifflin, let's just assume he's not going to win, and maybe he's in top 3 or whatever.
His team has to suck, right?
But if his team does just okay, he's not number 1, then I don't think it's that bad, and I don't think he cares. He just we mentioned it on Waiting Room, and then I probably don't hear him say anything.
Right.
If Mifflin wins and has the highest points in a single week,
we
won't hear the end of it
for
the next week. That's all we're gonna talk about. It's gonna be a desk on Sunday, and he's gonna be like, well, you happen to know, BaRRaCCuDDa, on my fantasy team that won, last week. Anyway,
I'm about to pull out a Mifflin impression that will blow the other casters away. And Gore, I know you can't see my camera in Discord, so I need you to have the stream up and watching.
Okay, I've got you over here. I'll watch you in delay.
He's gonna do that thing where he comes in to the green room, and he's gonna lower his glasses a little bit on his nose like this, He's going to do this hand thing that he always does. You know what I mean? He's going to come in here and he goes, guys, who had the most fantasy points this week? And then he does this like little, kind of raises his eyebrows and tilts his head and like waits for you to answer. And you go, you did, Mifflin. And he goes, it seems that may be true.
And chat, I want you to know.
You could say that I'm simply the greatest.
Oh my God, that laugh is spot on, dude.
Yeah.
No, I want chat to know. As you narrate it, you said he's gonna do the glasses thing, and like you dictated that, and I was like, oh right, I forget when he does that. But you said, and then he's gonna do his hand thing, and I had the exact same pose you did, and I could not see you. I just knew what you meant because he does it so much.
All the time. Yep. That's
shout outs to audio listeners. That was a visual gag.
Yeah. Isn't this good podcast content? That's what this is, a podcast. Yeah, I'm interested. Maybe we'll go over my my SPL fantasy team. I better get to drafting if it's starting next week. That's for sure. All right, let's talk a little bit about our next topic, or our final topic of the day, which is the second part of the SWC Worlds documentary released on the Smite Pro YouTube. Yeah. If you haven't watched it, you should head on over to the Smite Pro YouTube. It is long. There's no doubt about that, but it is. We have never released content in this type of way before. I think that people are really enjoying it. It is no voiceover, nothing like that. It is just letting the players tell the whole story. Their comms from in-game, their comms from between games. This is a look in at a competitive set, at the competitive set, like we've never been able to show before, and I think it's really awesome. I think that people are really liking it. First, BaRRa, from a player perspective, I did want to get your thoughts on this type of content. How, as a player, does this type of thing make you feel?
Well, I don't know if it was like if the players knew that it was coming out, because I had no idea that any sort of this style of documentary or comms being recorded and being used is. I had no idea it was happening. As a fan, I love it, but also as a competitor, I love it because now you can kind of see the interworkings of specific teams, and that is a really cool concept to me. I'm not sure if it's a good idea overall, because I like the more like I guess like clips of comms versus like an overall documentary of comms. Because I'm a little scared that it might give too much away.
Sure.
It basically just showed like how good of a leader Zap is, in my opinion, which I personally already knew.
Right.
But it was just shown to everyone else.
Yeah.
So I like that the fans can now have obviously a closer look, but as a competitor, I'm not 100% sure how much I like it or dislike it.
You know?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Gore, go ahead.
I actually wanted to ask you about this because I was thinking about this earlier, and Aggro, I think me and you have similar thoughts on this because we worked on the same side of things. But because BaRRa, I'm assuming like you still think of this because you've been doing this for a long time. So like you've done like a bunch of interviews, you've done a ton of content, like you've had the top to the bottom a range of everything. And I still imagine that for you, it's still the competition, right? Like you're still like when you get your paycheck, if you were described what you're doing, it is to play the games, and not necessarily like how I view it, which is like what I think it is like me and you in a way are like coworkers, and our job is to put out a product. The product happens to be the SPL, and like we're working on different parts of it, but like the idea is to try and make it as entertaining, whether that's informative or funny, depending on like the game, things like that. And so it's that idea where it's like, if this is good content because it's an interesting look, is it worth it even if it sacrifices a little of the competitive nature because as a whole product it makes it better? Or is it worse because maybe like everything's based on that competitive part? If it makes that a little worse, then everything goes down.
Yeah, I think it gives a lot away, especially for, like, I mean, I'm not going to say, like, because that came out, Leviathans are going to be way worse, or, like, they gave everything away that they're doing. But I do feel like it helps out a lot of other teams that were kind of looking for how to lead a game and how your comm should be. And I mean, as Shanae said in chat, like, he was talking about shot callers would be fully against that, and I agree with him because it does give it, like, just that specific. I don't know. There's just team comms are a very scary thing, I think, in Smite to give away, and people have always been very defensive about comms in Smite being given away because it just shows everything your team values and how your personalities inside the team work. But I mean, from a purely content perspective, it's a great thing. Like, I absolutely love it for like the content, but I also hate the content because I'm a competitive player. And
like, if this was your World's Finals, you'd probably not be as happy with it.
Yeah, I would be like, well, I mean, it's cool that we won, but I mean, like, that kind of shows exactly how Leviathans works behind the scenes. And I mean, they're not going to lose games, I don't think, because of it. I mean, maybe I don't know. It's just a weird spot for me because I love the content, and I watched it this morning, and I was like really enjoying it the whole time, and I like watched back like how Zap approached several different situations, and I took a lot away from it as well. Because as I've gone on, I think my shot calling has gone down in terms of like how much I shot call, but I think I learned a lot from him for like specific things to say, and. Yeah, I don't know.
Can you give an example? I mean, it's public, right? So can you give an example of like a way to say something that you think Zap was doing better that you learned from?
No, I will not.
Fair enough.
All I'll say is I did see a tweet of someone saying that like Zap's comms, and I thought this too, was like the perfect example of like he said what needed to be said. He did it in as like few words as possible and in a like authoritative voice, so it got done.
Yep.
And I was like, damn, that's nice.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. I certainly respect and understand your viewpoint, BaRRA, and I think I definitely empathize with it. I don't think it's a non-issue. I do think that there is a world that is not unachievable where everyone can be very happy. And it will require some compromise on both sides. There will probably be small things that you guys wouldn't want to get aired that will need to be aired for the best content possible. And there will be things that we want to air that we can't. Or I say that they cannot. But I think that the big thing is that it just going into it with this mindset of, yes, it can't be I'm going to be the only one to get my way. And I mean that sincerely to both sides. That it needs to be a compromise on both ends. And I don't think it's even that hard. I think that every team in the SPL has a coach. I think that if they were to do these a little bit more regularly, I think that is well within a coach's purview to be given the film relevant to their team and be given the opportunity to say, hey, this is what we want to use. Can we get your sign off on this? And I think that the coach, again, will need to understand that there's going to need to be compromise. But I think that the big thing overall is that the team making these videos and the pros need to be on the same page, that they are not, that no one is putting this in here, any type of content, to make your team have a better chance at losing, to make a player or a team look bad. That is not the goal. The goal is to make the best content possible. And to have a mutual respect there between the two sides. I think that one of the reasons why the Roster Apocalypse documentary that I was pretty heavily involved in 2 years ago was really successful, because that was the most in-depth and open I think that players had ever been when it comes to interviewing about their team decisions and that kind of stuff. And it obviously made the content a lot better. And I think that we were able to make that in that way because the players trusted me and the editing team to not intentionally make them look bad or anything like that. We were just there to tell the whole story. And there were multiple players who we did the interviews with who then said afterwards, hey, I don't want you to use that, or like, I don't, you know, can you cut that part out? And what my response was every single time was, I promise you I won't use it unless I think I need to. I will let you know if it makes it into the final cut. And I just want if it does make it into the final cut, I will try to explain to you why I think it's necessary. I will only use it if it's necessary for me to tell the story I want to tell. And there was one clip in particular, I won't name the player, who he said immediately afterwards, I don't want you to use that. I told him exactly what I just said. And then his thing did make it into the final cut. And I said, hey, we're going to use, we're going to have my question. You hear my question. You hear your full answer. And I think that, I know you didn't want us to use it, but I think it's really important because it rounds out this storyline and gives it that overall like flavor that I think is important to the story. And that player said, I understand and I agree. I'm fine with it. You can use it. And I think that's just like the way that you need to go about it, right? It needs to be that amount of like communication and understanding and respect. And if that player had told me, I'm still not comfortable with you using it, we would have cut it. And I think the product would have been worse, but it would have opened, but it keeps the door open for more content like that in the future to be made. And I think that's like the big thing to keep in mind. Is it's not always about this exact piece of content. It's about, does this keep our bridge open for all the content afterwards? I think is really the big thing.
That's fair.
That's my perspective on it, at least.
I agree with that as long as like the teams knew that this was happening and the teams knew that the documentary was coming out and was under complete understanding. Because I remember there was one, I remember what year it was, but there was one time that the full team's comms were streamed for a whole game.
Oh, that was
I don't remember what year that was, but it was like the teams didn't even know that their comms were being streamed that day. They were just like, oh yeah, like by the way, your whole team comms for that whole game were streamed.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Not ideal. That was before my time for sure.
I do think everything in that booth, like the cameras that are on you guys, and then all of the audio in there, I believe gets recorded. Like no matter what. Yep. But I don't think and I think it's like if they think it's worthwhile, someone could trudge through them. Like that's how Jithens every now and then finds like hey, this was really funny when there was one like Lasber dove a tier 2 last year and like he sent it to you guys or someone reached out and was like, hey, are you okay if we post this clip? And you were like, yeah, post it with the player comms. I think we had a few of them that were turned down for that exact reason. But, like, I do think everything gets recorded, and I think it is in that exact area of, like, cool. Now that it's, like, whenever the video team edits, all of the Titans clips, they should ship that to the Titans and just make sure, and much like you'd said, Aggro, like, there's that balancing point of, like, okay, this is in there because this is the story we're trying to tell.
Right.
But you don't want X and Y in there. We can take these as long, but we got to keep this, even though you might not want this one. You got to find the balancing point. And I think Jameson, because I think Jameson edited these. He does a great job. So
yeah, Jameson's good.
Yeah, it was really good. I like the I think it's like called like mic check in League or something, where it's like a snippet of like each week's comms, and I love that idea.
Yep.
One of
just like funny moments or high moments.
When we did the Paladins tournament in Vegas, the guy that was running it was like an ex-NFL like a producer. And so he's in there, like they had the same kind of crew, the same kind of setup. It was really sick, but he loved player comms and he did not care about whether or not the players wanted it out there. But so they record it and then we'd go to a break, it'd come back, we'd do the desk, and then during the next 5 minutes when we were down, it'd be, here's like player comms during the end of the game, here's player comms during that crucial take back of a point that was really important on Bright March or whatever. And like I remember the players weren't exactly happy with it, but at the same time, it wasn't a high-res thing, so we were like, dude, I don't know. I'm not going to go tell the NFL guy he can't do this.
Yeah,
That's not me.
Well, that's what I was going to say earlier, is that, you know, when it comes to traditional sports or even other esports, you listen to interviews with league players, they are way more open about their strategies than Smite players are. They are not afraid to tell you, we only like this champ on red side. We only like picking this champ if they've already locked in their bot lane because we think it can get hard countered by certain bots. Like, they are very open with their strategies, and there is just plainly more at stake because there's more money on the line, right? And I think that follows traditional sports where, you know, you follow these teams like what you talk about the Brooklyn Nets, and it's like, yeah, you know, what are you gonna do up, you know, tonight with the up against your opponent or whoever? And they're like, yeah, we're probably gonna like give Kevin Durant the ball a lot, and we're gonna like let him score. Like, that's kind of the game plan. And it's not, you know, there are intricacies, certainly. I'm not saying there aren't. And there are fine details, and, you know, for the league comparison, there are picks that go way under the radar that no one ever sees until it's time. You know, like, there are those sorts of things. But at the end of the day, I've preached extensively on this podcast and when I casted about team identity and just buying into that. If your team identity is solid enough, teams should know what you're going to do. Like, BaRRa, when teams play against the Bolts, when you guys are playing well, you know Lasmer's going to pick a tanky initiating jungle. You guys are going to play through duo pressure. Haddox is going to pick an initiating solo laner. And that's how you guys are going to play the game. And that's not a secret. You could come out and say that the day before, because you basically do with the way you draft. Everyone knows it. It's just that your identity and the way you execute is you're too good at it, and they still lose. And that's the mark of a great team. I don't think that a lot of things like that actually matter if you're executing on the level you should. Like, I think that's just the way I view it.
That's just how Leviathans are, in my opinion, right now. Like, I feel like you basically every time you play Leviathans in a tournament, you know exactly what they're going to play most of the time. Like, you know how they're going to play it, but they're just so good at it that's just like, okay, we know exactly what they're going to pick and ban, how they're going to play the map, and we still can't beat them.
Right. That's what great teams do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what great teams do. You know, in football, you know a team's got a great running back. They're going to run the ball on you. It doesn't make it any easier to stop. They still jam it down your throat, and you still lose to it. Like, it's the exact same thing. So I do think that teams are overall too secretive about what they want to do. I understand why it takes a long time to break those types of habits, but I just think Smite is at a point now where it's not a coincidence that you know what the Leviathans are going to do. It's not a coincidence that they pick similar things and they play the same style and then they just beat you anyways. They just that's who they understand their team identity, and they pick to it and they play to it every game, and that's why they win more than other teams.
And I think there's something, and this is entirely from my perspective of it. I would love that, and part of the reason I think it's fun to do pregame and postgame interviews for the Leviathans is because they are very open about it.
Yep.
Because like I think there was even a point where we laughed and like we memed with them when we were like, yeah, so you guys just play the tier list, and they go, yeah, if it's good, we're gonna play whatever's up. Like, we don't care. And you know, we would talk to them about that, and like, I know, because like, and BaRRa, you can probably attest to this. Like, we don't typically ask a lot of very hard hitting pre-game interview questions.
No.
And it's mainly because
no one writes them down beforehand. Gore, that's a burn to the casters.
Hold on, wait, but
that's a caster burn.
I write mine down.
Yes, Gore has always been the best.
Very specifically, I've been yelling at people to do it now.
Thank you. Someone's got to do it when I'm gone.
And you know what? I got JMac too,
Good.
and that made me happy. So
Good.
at least I got at least one. Now I just got to get Dave too, and we're set. Which he's half and half.
Yeah, sometimes they do.
But
sometimes
it's weird because, like, you know, sometimes, like, if I want to ask you if a new patch drops and there's something that affected hunters, I have to think, how can I ask about this update that isn't so pointed that that you are giving something away that you wouldn't want to, but still gets an answer that's like useful. And that's where it gets like weird. And it's like, if there was like a, you know what, I know BaRRa's gonna talk to me about anything. Hey BaRRa, SPL got you like crit on every ability now all of a sudden.
Ooh.
How do you feel about that? And then you just went,
Well,
oh
let me
yeah,
write that
you know
down.
what? I think this is blank, 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 and I'm gonna pick him every game that I can.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
Gore,
cool.
that was
that's
SPL
a
has
fun
crit
interview.
on every ability. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what I did say.
That's pretty good.
On every.
Yeah.
Even his ult, that's the one that's wild.
Even his ult.
Just an instant crit on everybody.
Programming is not going to be happy about that one.
I used to care a lot about like answering those questions and like
Yeah.
trying to hide things, and now I just like tell you straight up what I think most of the time, because I'm like,
Yeah.
people won't know if I'm trolling or not,
Right.
or like if they're really listening to a BaRRaCCuDDa interview to think, well, like to try to like learn about SPL darts getting lowered by 2 seconds or whatever,
Yeah.
like. Good for you, bud. like, congratulations, I guess. But like, I don't know. I feel like it's so much deeper than that, and I can give answers like without giving everything away while still answering your question. So I think I've just gotten better at it over the years. Because in the beginning, I would like freak out and like, oh no, I can't give anything away. Like I need to like want everything like chest tight.
That's a good
but
point.
now I'm
That's
like,
a good point, Gore. Let's say theoretically, man, it's so hard for me to like give theoreticals now because people could think that we're working on something. I want everyone to be very clear. This has nothing to do with anything that's in development. This is purely a hypothetical.
Okay.
Let's say crit gets buffed to the roof. Okay?
Yeah.
It's obvious, maybe not even obvious to everyone, but it seems like crit is going to be the meta now, right? And that's what's going to determine what's good and that kind of stuff. I think that for the pregame interviews, if you're interviewing a hunter, it shouldn't have to be, hey, do you think hunter, crit got changed. Do you expect to see a lot of crit or something like that? It should be like, hey, is crit going to be meta now? And I think a player, if they're about to play, even if the other team is watching on their monitors in the booth, which I don't know if we allow them to or not. We shouldn't if we do.
we do.
Okay, we shouldn't. They shouldn't. Not me anymore. That should just be, I think crit's going to be meta now. Like,
Yeah.
what does that lose you? Especially, the more obvious it is especially, but even when, like,
I
don't know. I just think you should be able to answer
This
that.
might be a rib on us, or me now, not necessarily you, because I think you always had good interview questions, but I do think there's something to be said about, like, more creativity in our interview question. Like, this is essentially becoming, like, a self-review, but, like, realistically, I don't think a lot of the questions we ask matter as much as we want, and I feel like we've been lulled into a weird sense, not like sense of security, but like almost laziness, where it's like, oh, well, you know what? The Leviathans are going to come in, and this phase one, I'm going to ask them questions
Especially,
like
Gore,
about an hour or something.
especially if you start getting in the mindset of they won't answer anyway, so it doesn't matter what I ask. That's when you're a host. That's when it's over, because then they truly won't give you anything. It is really up to the interviewer to incentivize the interviewee to give a good answer by asking a good question. That's what it's all about.
And this is why Aggro was the best caster, by the way.
It's subjective, not objective, but I appreciate it. Genetic said he would answer way more openly if we stopped the other team from watching live. I think we absolutely should.
All right, I'm sending this right now. I'm going to say let's blacklist twitch.tv/Smite game in the booths.
Yeah, it's not hard.
Even like pre-record the interviews to where like we're just in the booth and you have like an admin sitting behind all the computers or whatever.
Right, yeah. Well, no, we could do that live. There's an admin in there anyways, like during pregame.
True, yeah.
Like that's, you're good.
I mean, stop whoever mid lane computer looked up Amaranth, gotta stay focused on...
You said it was a mid laner?
Yeah, I don't know who... I think it was PBM.
You don't know who...
Was it
who
PBM?
it was. Okay, you don't know who it was.
It said a mid lane PC had searched Amaranth.
Uh-huh. Surely it was a mid laner. Layer saying definitely Shinto. I don't know who it was, but stay focused, fellas. My God. You're about to play
Or maybe they are being focused, Maybe
That's
they're
not...
hyping up their testosterone a little bit, Maybe there's some
Back
science
away from the
behind
ledge, Barry. Back away from the
sorry.
ledge. Away from the ledge. All right, let's...
I got really close that time.
Yeah, let's go to our random question of the week, as we're already at an hour. This
You're telling me you don't want to do an hour and a half podcast?
I mean, look, I love
going. I like talking to y'all.
I know, it's a good time.
Last time we did it with PBM, we sat around for another hour talking after we were
that's usually how it goes. No, it's time for the random question of the week because I've got a little bit of extra work to do before I do a little Destiny raid tonight, so I got to get that done. What? This is brought to you by my illustrious wife, Jo. She always, whenever I have a question prepared, it is literally always because she said, I've got a question that you could ask. And this is another one from her. What is everyone's favorite kitchen gadget that they use? What little tool in the kitchen is making your life easier? And also, Aaron, if you're listening, can we get a kitchen gadget sponsor for the podcast? We have like every kitchen gadget known to man, and that's it. Like, we love them, and I'm about to give you my favorite one, but I'm open to sponsorship from any kitchen gadget, for the record.
So, like, when you say kitchen gadget, does this include appliances, like utility that we're cooking with?
Yes.
Or is it just so not like, oh man, I love my whisk?
No. But if you've got a banging whisk, I am down to hear it.
Hold on, I do have a favorite whisk. I'll show it to you.
Oh my God, Gore's going. This is excellent podcast content.
He came prepared.
Yeah,
bro.
Well, kind of. He had to go up and get it, but that's still.
This is really weird. Not a lot of people will have a favorite whisk. This is not my favorite kitchen, whatever you say.
Gadget, right?
Gadget. But so we got for anyone listening or watching who doesn't know, my wife and I got married at Disney World. And when she went down for one of the meetings, we were doing SPL or whatever. No, wait, that would have been 2018. I was doing Paladins. The chef that made our cake, or was going to make our cake, gave her a little whisk that has like a heart in it up here, a heart up here, and then a heart on the inside. And so this is my favorite whisk that I use. That's a cute whisk. It's small though, Gore. What do you use that whisk for? So this is my buffalo sauce mixing whisk.
Yeah.
So typically, like, you'd get like a cup of Frank's, a stick of butter, ghost pepper sauce, cayenne pepper, salt. Heat that until the
ghost pepper,
the butter. Yeah, well, not a lot of ghost peppers. Just
okay.
Teensy bit.
Wait, you heat up the Franks as well?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because it reduces the Franks a little bit to give. It depends on what you want to do with it. You can reduce it a lot to make it like more of a sticky sauce to be on the wings, or you can just leave it like more liquidy.
Yeah, I'm a fan of
like microwave it for 30 seconds.
I'm a fan of only warming the butter. That's when I'm making a wing sauce. The only thing I heat is the butter, and I stir in the warm butter into all the other ingredients, and that I think gives it the right texture that I like.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah, I leave everything else.
High tech.
But then you just.
I used to make a lot of wing sauce at my uncle's pizza shop, man. That's what I'm about. That's a great.
I think I've also used this for pancakes.
Interesting. All right, but what does anyone have a gadget that is not a very cute whisk?
A gadget that's not a cute whisk.
Yeah, mine was Angels on Bikes. Already said it. Mine's probably my blender, just because we make a lot of like sauces and dips now. And you need a blender for like most of those things. So we've been using the blender a lot more lately than we have before. And if it's not that, we gotta. Okay, this is like the lamest thing, but it's like a potato peeler or like a carrot peeler. And this thing peels better than like most things ever do their job.
Yeah.
Like there's like no resistance. Like it glides across it. It feels so smooth. You just like. You take a bowl of potatoes in front of the TV, and those things are peeled in like 10 minutes, and just like it's just a nice, relaxing process. Like I don't know, there's something about it that just makes me feel nice. So if it's not my smoothie, it's a little like peeler thingy.
That's exactly what I was looking for, Barra. That thing that just makes you feel like this has improved my life so much by not having to spend more time or more effort. That's what it's all about. Good answer, Barry. Good answer. Yeah. Or what you got for me?
I would have to go out of sheer amount of use it gets, and I will give it credit for some life-changing things. Would be the air fryer that we have. Now it's adjusted over time because I'm pretty sure we did use one already until it broke. But I used to eat a lot of like fried foods. It's part of like when I was like a huge chunkster, it's because I was eating like way too much fried food all the time. And a lot of that was even at home. I'd just make chicken nuggets and French fries for lunch kind of deal.
Yep.
And so it's a lot of oil, a lot of fats that you're going to be getting, and like and things like that. I've learned since then that my skin is just straight up oily, and whether that's like residual or not, I don't know. Kind of sucks, whatever. But less calories when you eat it out of the air fryer. It gets it crispy enough, and it tastes good. It's essentially just
fast.
a fancy oven.
Yeah, it's a
fast.
fancy oven. That's all it is.
And that I made my dinner in that tonight. I wanted to heat something up. I threw it in there. It's good for leftovers. That thing's useful.
We use our air fryer all the time. Air fryer is absolutely OP, dude. It heats up so fast. It's so versatile. Yeah, they're great. They're absolutely
Second place is my wok, though. I love the wok.
I've been wanting to get a wok. That's like one gadget.
Yeah,
I don't even know if that counts as a gadget, but like one kitchen tool that I don't have is a wok.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Can you like tell a big difference when you use it, or?
It's honestly, for me, it's less about, because like I think if you get a good wok that's like seasoned and everything, it's gonna have like some flavor. Like if you're making like fried rice or any chicken in there, like there's gonna be a base level of flavor that gets added to it that wouldn't otherwise be there. So that's helpful.
Yeah.
But for the most part, for me, it's just so much bigger. And so, like, if I'm stirring a ton or if I need to, like, toss something, I've got a lot more room to work with than I do in the other
animated.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
But fried rice is a lot of stirring, dude. You gotta get in.
You gotta get in there. There's no doubt about that. That leads into my number 2 kitchen gadget. Air fryer is a close number 3, debatably number 2.
Oh, wow.
But my number 2, if you all listening out there don't have a good rice cooker, you have been messing up. For however many years you have been making rice. Because using a rice cooker is OP.
Yes.
You can't mess it up. You can't. It gets you good rice every time. Rice is great. It's the best. I love it. I love rice. I can eat rice every day. It's so delicious.
I'll concede that. The only reason I didn't think of rice cooker is because our last one broke and I still haven't bought a new one because I'm lazy and I need to go to H Mart.
Yep, gotta do it. Rice cooker, absolutely broken. I actually want to get a rice cooker that can cook brown rice a little bit better. Ours is really good with white rice, but struggles a little bit with brown rice for whatever reason.
Do you know how much rice I'd be eating because like the best thing about the rice cookers is that you can just leave the rice there.
Yep.
And it'll still stay warm, right?
Yeah.
And so last night I cooked some rice and chicken for me and Katie. She didn't want any chicken, so I took half of it and put it in a like little Tupperware. Yeah. The other half was on my dinner. You know how nice it would have been if today I could have just been like, you know what? I do want some rice with this. Just make a quick like half cup of rice. Bam, there's my meal. Bang. That would have been so much nicer. Done.
Just so easy.
I'm going to Amazon right now. I'm buying me a rice cooker.
It's the best. It is absolutely worth it.
I bought a rice cooker, but me and Destiny, it turns out, we're just not the biggest fans of rice because we never eat the leftovers. I don't know why. Like, me and Destiny are really weird when it comes to leftovers. Did you try, like, making fried rice yourself with leftover rice? That's what it's all about. Mm-mm.
Leftover day-old rice is, like, the perfect rice to use to make fried rice.
Oh, okay.
That's the schmoo. Yeah, like tonight we made a lot of rice with. We made a good amount of rice with like our dinner, which we had some fish with using one of my MVP of kitchen gadgets. We'll go over in a minute. And we can just box up the leftover rice, put that in the fridge in some Tupperware, and then tomorrow just pop that in a frying pan with some other stuff, some soy sauce and all that goodness, and make some fried rice.
I'll also throw it out there. BaRRA, in the event that you put on like 100 pounds, Aggro, same thing for you for some reason if it just happens. Chat, anybody out there? Best weight loss meal I had, and it's super easy to meal prep, is you just take like 2 pounds of chicken and then like 2 cups of uncooked rice. Chop the chicken up, like dice it, cook it, whatever. And then just make a bunch of small rice and chicken meals, like 4 or 5 out of that. Mm-hmm. And then you are set for the week. You've got your lunch. It's really like the chicken and the sauce typically helps reheat the rice so it doesn't get like dry.
Yeah.
And then it's, 600-ish calories if you make the right serving size of it. And so it's a really easy, filling, but good weight loss meal.
There you go. And Gore's the master for sure.
That's from legit experience because I lost 150 pounds.
Yep, Gore the absolute
good tech.
But my number 1 MVP kitchen gadget.
Okay.
It's the sous vide. The sous vide
Oh.
is unreal, you guys. We have eaten more fish since we started using our sous vide than I have in like years combined. And I love eating fish. I love it. But it was just so annoying to buy fresh fish at the supermarket and then try and like pan fry it or anything like that. Like it just falls apart. It's awful. It's like greasy, all this kind of stuff. A sous vide is the easiest thing in the entire world. You don't have to do the vacuum seal nonsense. No one cares about that. All you do is you literally like, you get a giant pot of water. You don't put it on the stove. You just put it like on your countertop or on a heat safe surface, of course. And you just put all your food in a bag, in a big like gallon bag. And you put like a little bit of butter or olive oil or, you know, all your seasonings and herbs and that kind of stuff. And you just like press all the air out, put it in there. Your sous vide cooks it for the next like 45 minutes at like 100. It's very specific temperature. It's usually like 130-ish degrees. It's like literally bath water. You can put your hand in there if you want to. I don't know why you would, but you could. And it comes out and it's
gonna bathe in your food.
It's just perfect, man. It's just perfect. And there's no cleanup because all you did was boil a pot of water and you throw away the bag that the food was in. It's so broken. It's so OP. It has absolutely been huge for us. I love our sous vide. And they are expensive, but I highly recommend them.
I thought about buying one, but I don't know.
I don't know what your options are for veggies, Bear. I know you're on the vegan train. So I don't know. You can do some veggies, I think.
I actually just Googled it, and there's a vegan cauliflower Alfredo that kind of looks banging.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's absolutely
insane. But how much what's the cheapest like sous vide recipe?
I'm not going to say the brand that I have. I'm not going to say the brand that I have so that when we get sponsored, I could claim it's that one no matter what. But I will send it to you after this. I did a good amount of research on it.
Yeah, I was seeing one between like 70 and 200. So I mean, that's not like too bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. You can get like an air fryer for less than that. You can get a rice cooker for a lot less than that.
Isn't like this is getting like super culinary, but isn't like one of the like cool things to do with a sous vide is like you take a steak, you put it in, and you sous vide it for a little bit. And then you pop it out, you give it like the quick sear. Cast iron sear with like the seasoning and everything.
Yep.
And then like you're goated because it's like a tie between that or the quick sear, toss the pan into the oven.
Right. So the sous vide, it basically just cooks it in its own juice. Like that's the whole point. That's why you like it by putting it in the water. It like isolates it. It doesn't allow a whole lot of air in, all that kind of stuff. That's why you use a Ziploc bag, or you vacuum seal it. It's all about letting it cook in its own and all the seasonings that you add in there. When it comes out, it isn't like gross mushy, but it doesn't have a crust of any kind because the heat is far too low. So yeah, it is recommended that you sear basically everything that comes out. We did so for like a week, and then we realized that we didn't need to, and it still tasted great. It just wasn't as visually appealing. And sure, you lose a little bit of that added texture. If we were like cooking for other people and like wanted to do it up, we would still do that, and it's still very easy, but it was just creating dishes that we didn't need to. So, yeah, and as Snug said, it's all about consistency. It keeps it at a very precise temperature over a long period of time. So, yeah, when we want to go all out, we still take it out, sear it on both sides, still sear the fish, whatever, though every time we try and sear fish, it just falls apart. We're the worst fish searers of all time. Literally, tonight... All like Joe had to make dinner because she's the best. She just put some rice in the rice cooker, put some fish in the sous vide, popped some broccoli in the oven because roasted veggies are by far the best way to eat veggies.
Oh, true.
A little bit of olive oil, salt, pepper, pop that bad boy in an oven for like 25 minutes. Yes, sir. And then it's literally like just take the rice out of the rice cooker on the plate, fish out of the bag on the plate, broccoli off the pan on the plate, and then it's our only dishes are the pan that the broccoli was on and like the stuff we used, the spatula we used to get it off, and the middle part of the rice cooker. And that's pretty much it. Yep. You just gotta like wipe out the pot you used. That's it. And it was a healthy meal and it was delicious.
Dude, I came home I think it was like Friday. Wait, I think it was actually the Friday I played. I came home from the gym after we played, and I like ran by the store, got some sweet potatoes and some broccoli, threw it in the oven, and took a shower, came out, took the broccoli out, sweet potato had to cook for a while later, and literally my whole dinner plate was just a big pile of sweet potatoes and broccoli, just straight out of the oven. And bro, I tell you, that was like one of the best meals like I've ever cooked for myself. And it was literally the easiest thing of just throwing in the oven. As you said, olive oil, salt, pepper, like a little bit of seasonings, like whatever your spices are that you like. Oh, so good, man.
Half
so
that plate sounds really good to me, BaRRa. And the other half I'm throwing in the absolute garbage can. Sweet potatoes are a crime against humanity. Anyways, thanks for listening, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. SPL kicks off the regular
SPL
season.
cooking show.
SPL cooking show, yes, please. That would be great. SPL does kick off in earnest this weekend. Very excited to see that. And all the brand new picks and secret strats that we didn't know about. Very excited to see what's going on there. We'll be back next week. I believe we also have a dope sponsor coming down the pipeline, I think.
Ooh.
Potentially excited about that. So we'll keep you posted by then surprising you with an ad, I guess. So we won't really keep you posted at all. But it will surprise you at some point. And that's going to do it. Gore, thanks so much for coming on. Make sure you give us all a rating. Go follow Goremiser on Twitter. It's right there on the screen, at Goremiser. Very easy. He's going to be tweeting out their fantasy links teams tomorrow, which I'm very excited about for sure. But that's going to do it. Thanks for listening / watching. And we'll catch you next time. Barry, you know what to do.
Bye.
Not bad, not
bad.
bad.
A little bad.
It was all right.
It's okay. It's okay. I've done better. I'm a little let down, but it's fine.